Marooned in a time long disconnected from his own, we rejoin our warrior aboard Sandship. Last time we... What keeps glitching out there? That's like the third time I don't know, but... last time we went below deck of the Sandship after arriving here at long last, had a duel with the usurper Captain Skirvo, if you will. And we obtained his bow, a strong addition to our arsenal, which seems to be too much for the video card to handle if it keeps making that... Oh! Those are... Those were arrows being shot at us. And okay, that's kind of funny. Should you walk into those, you can actually collect them and reuse them for your own bow. A very helpful tip. Should you miss with your own shots, it doesn't hit anything, any sort of enemy, you can also pick them back up yourself. Only if it actually hits a target will it count as being used for good. Kind of nice. You can just let enemies keep shooting at you because that guy sure as heck isn't gonna hit you from that distance. This guy over here, and hey, the barrels! It's okay, barrels, I forgive you. I now understand. You were not betraying us. You had tons and tons of arrows that you just couldn't cough up because you didn't want to spoil the surprise of what we were gonna be getting aboard the ship here today, okay? You barrels, you worked hard, even putting your own image at risk to make sure that this dungeon would be much more fun than it would have been otherwise. And for that, I appreciate you. Gonna do my quick draw. Shoot these guys from a distance. Even if you don't do the full draw, you can kill bokoblins in one hit at this point before they even see you. It is fantastic. This bow is hands down the greatest asset to everything that we have at this point. And I think it was good that the bow wound up being the last item on our item wheel, because it enabled the slingshot to actually be useful this time around past the first area or two. A lot of people just wind up using the slingshot for whatever puzzles it's required for early on and never use it in combat. But in a game where so many enemies are capable of countering your attacks, something like a stun is not something to be taken lightly. It's a great thing that gets used so much more often than it would have been otherwise. It's great. And by making the bow last, it makes it so that it goes as long as it possibly can before being made obsolete. I feel like this is one of the few times that the slingshot was actually a very necessary part of it, and the game would not have been the same if they just gave you the bow from the start. This thing would be overpowered by this point. And I think that by having to go so long without it, it makes you appreciate it all that much more. I love the way that this was done. So, right there, I shot that connector to the lifeboat to lower it down a little bit. I recommend that you do that now, otherwise it's going to make things a little bit awkward for you later on. Also, if you're wondering, yeah, we really are marooned in the past. We can't leave this ship because there is an electro gate preventing anybody from leaving. Considering the lifeboat is presumably the only other way off of the ship, this thing was just a disaster waiting to happen. After all, putting a flame that the fate of the world rests on that can never ever go out aboard a wooden ship in the middle of the ocean. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Take you guys out. These guys are on some narrow walkways. Just want to deal with you from a distance before you're a problem. A lot better than sword fighting on there, potentially getting parried and knocked off the cliff. And now, using our draw, I think actually, right in the belly button. Right in the crotch. Man, look at the range on this thing. It's incredible. Like, those shots don't even deviate that far away. This just goes to show how far away you would have to be before you have to start compensating for shot deviation. This bow tears everything up. It's so good. This reminds me of how I've known people that in Ocarina of Time could shoot Gways from across Lake Hylia when they just appeared as 1 pixel. I'm nowhere near that good, and I'm sure someone like that could attest to this bow being great a lot better than I could, but I still think it's good, and I still think that I at least shoot well enough to earn that right, even though I might not be the best at shooting it of anybody that has ever lived. Seriously, I don't know how people do that. I have so much respect for the people that can do those sorts of things. If you're having a little bit of trouble with the quick draw, generally what I do is instead of pulling the nunchuck back, I like to flip the nunchuck up at a 90-degree angle. It's a very quick, easy motion, doesn't have your arm cover a lot of distance. Even if you're in an enclosed space, like sitting in an armchair, you don't have to worry about having enough space to pull back. Just kind of another shortcut that you can do to make things a lot easier. Gonna stab in there, and we've uncovered the Time Stone. We've also uncovered that door, enabling us to go back inside. Link, good job. Weep. Now the ship just looks like it looks just like it used to. Fweep. That makes me so happy. Vroom. Now I just need you to go rescue my crew. Weep. I'm pretty sure they're being held in the brig inside the ship. Berserk. Happy that I used the correct terminology, and even happier that this guy can actually come with us. I always felt kind of bad that he had to stay by the ship knowing that everyone had passed on and that there was no hope of him really returning, but we've kind of given him that hope now. Is that everything that we want to do before going inside? Not quite. There is a bit of a zip line over this way that we can call by shooting that target. And if we look at our map, at least as much as it's filled in right now, we see that down on basement 2, there is a strip of land that we aren't able to get to from any other point on that floor. You might be expecting there to be some hidden stairs or some hidden room on another level that would get you there, but instead, this drove me absolutely nuts on my first playthrough, by the way, and I remember just everyone when this game was new asking where to find this thing and how to get there. I remember spending at least an hour on it myself. So if you figured this out quickly, feel good about yourself, because this gave everyone I knew trouble, even those people that could shoot the Gways from across Lake Hylia. We can hop down. I kind of need some arrows. I appreciate bombs, and I find them a lot more useful than a lot of people do, but no arrow. Oh, a fairy. I don't need it. I guess the nature preserve just grew in size by 1. See, I told you it would work out. Even though we just predated the creation of those 3 fairies and this one exists in the past, still, I like to think it worked out pretty well. We can use our claw shots to get up onto this lookout tower. We let go. Sure. And over here, a very well hidden treasure chest containing a piece of heart. That completes our 16th heart container. Just 4 more to go. This is fantastic. Got some blessed butterflies. We do our Road to El Dorado reference once again, and we have yet another goddess wall. So I guess I wasn't really wasting a goddess wall too badly when I was showing you that secret before withdrawing the 1-stroke Triforce, because now that we have the bow, we can draw a 1-stroke arrow and get 30 arrows each and every time we do that. So that means that in total, I believe that is every single drawing that you can possibly do on a goddess wall. That means that you have your choice between 30 arrows, 30 bombs, I believe 12 hearts, 3 fairies, which equates to 18 hearts, and an amount of rupees somewhere in the ballpark of about 50. It's ridiculous just how powerful goddess walls are when you know all the things that they can do for you. If you're doing any kind of challenge run or using the curse medal, definitely keep them in mind. It's great, it really is. I guess the curse medal would give you those drops anyway, just from doing things normally, but still. Goddess walls are all powerful. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna meet you below deck. Or not. This place is actually quite pretty in the present time. Oh. I didn't quite remember it, and the music also sounds pretty nice, so I'll let you listen to that. Had to ruin the atmosphere, didn't you, buddy? You know what? I don't even need to aim my sword at you any longer. Just hit him with the bow, and it's fine. Technoblins do have a little bit more health. I think if I shoot this guy with a not fully charged arrow, he will live. So I do have to draw my bow the entire way to deal with him. But use your quick draw. Not any sort of problem right now. Technoblins, you might think that you're at the cutting edge of bokoblin fashion, but now you are rather obsolete. I'm making fun of him, though, but he's actually about to come over and kill me. There you go. Didn't use my quick draw for dramatic tension, and it got me an ornamental skull. The simple, slightly macabre of fashion statement bears the bokoblin symbol. What a thing to have as the symbol of your species. Fi's got something to tell us. Master, look up. Now she only has 1 word from her catchphrase in there. She is making progress. You can reach the Timeshift Stone on the deck through the ventilation shaft on the ceiling. I believe it will be possible to shoot through the grate with a small projectile, such as an arrow. Take that, and you want to look out for any case where there's light shining through from above. Doing so will allow you to change the ship between the past and the present without having to go back up to the deck, and this will enable you to do some pretty cool things. It's the main gimmick of what we're doing here today. We get the dungeon map. Doesn't exactly fill in a whole lot more of the dungeon that we haven't seen. Should you maybe be a little bit slower with getting things, you could see that there is a treasure chest out there that would incentivize you to go and look, but we're already ahead of that. We don't need any such thing. Pull that down. And now that we've returned to the past, again, I don't need to use bombs. Arrows make so many things obsolete, and you instantly die from it. I don't know why you wouldn't, because a Skyward Strike kills you, and that's one of the lowest powered attacks out there. But it's still nice to know that it does. If we see this area where the light is shining through, I press the C button to pull it up. I tend to do that a lot, so forgive me. It brings you into first-person view, and it's the button that you use to do the quick draw, so I always think to do that. That will open this door for us that we could not previously go into. And once inside, I think there's some electro keys in here. Yes, there are. Thunder keys, I think, is actually their name. I want to get out my whip for you guys. Or you guys can just go back to sleep. That's cool. Or two of you can go back to sleep and the other... Okay, fine. If you want to die that badly, be my guest. But I was going to leave you alone if you went back to sleep. I'm just saying. It's not too late for you to make better life choices yet, little one. Is he going to, or is he... Nope, he's not. He gave into peer pressure, and it was his undoing. When stepping on the switch, we get another switch that we can hit with our arrows right on the other side. Just carefully aim it through that fan. If you're in the present time, you're not able to do this, at least not easily, because these fans will be rotating. So that's why I wanted to return back to the present time. I always have to think about it for a second, though, because you'd expect it to be the other way around. I've said this before. Now, I've got a bit of a weird tip for you. This is something that I fought myself on for quite a while on whether or not I would actually do this. It's that your bow is an upgradable item. And now that we have gained the ability to return to the present time and we're right near the dungeon entrance, you can leave this dungeon no problem whatsoever, go up to the sky, and upgrade it right now. If you've been good about getting your tumbleweeds as we've been going through the desert, there really should not be any reason that you can't upgrade it, and it will be helpful for later. I fought myself for a long time on whether or not I would actually do this, because it is a good tip, and I've done it before to great success. It's just that, without spoiling anything else that I've done, one time many years ago, I did leave a dungeon midway through to go do some other things because I thought it would be the most efficient way of taking care of stuff, and it didn't exactly go over well, so I ultimately decided not to. But just know that if you want to go back to the sky and upgrade your equipment, it can be a good idea to do that. You can just go back to the ship, sail to the nearest shore, and take a nearby bird statue. Go and do that really quick, and it will be helpful to you going forward. Now, gonna go in here. Yeah, do your battle cry, not like it really matters at this point. I fear no bokoblin. That enables us to twist this. And that gets some of the ship's motors back online. Master, I am detecting very strong vibrations. Signs indicate that activating this mechanism has caused something within the ship to begin moving. The current situation is difficult to accurately assess. I don't know why she turned into Big the Cat. It's kind of like whenever electronics batteries are running low. Remember like those toys that you'd press buttons on them and they would talk to you? And, well, I guess that describes a lot of toys though, but you know those. When their batteries are low and their voices get really like deep and slowed down and they sound really funny. I kind of enjoyed that more than the normal functions of the toy. I'd always look forward to my batteries being low whenever I was a kid. Heck, I don't think that's really changed all that much given how often my batteries die whenever I'm recording anything on the Wii, so. Kill you. Should have done my quick draw, but I was fine. Let's take you out. And we got yet another one of these blocks that we can push. And we got a button right over there. Common logic dictates what it is we're going to be doing. And that lifeboat that we lowered is now right connected to this window. We would not have a way of shooting that switch easily from here should we have done that. We also have a way down, but first I want to take, oh boy, how do I want to do this? Let me think about this for a moment. Yes, I want to take the pathway up. This part is always a little bit confusing where I do have to at least stop for a second and think about it for, like... I almost said stop for a second and think about it for a second. But you know what I mean. There's just so many things open to you. You can technically do them in any order. You could have done this before the room that I took on first. Now what we do, we draw it back, we hit the Timeshift Stone, return things to the present time, it's kind of funny that this place was named Sandship. It's like it's prophetic for what it would have become when you actually think about it. We can lower the lifeboat in the past. Thankfully, that function of the ship hasn't gone offline. But now, we're trapped. We can't go anywhere. Oh, wait, we got the electricity turned off. And once we have done that, now, once we have taken care of these guys who are giving us grief... Oh, okay. Maybe they learned from their friends' examples. Maybe they heard the blood-curdling screams before the other ones died and they learned from them. We can now shoot the Timeshift Stone from in here, return it to the past, and now we can activate the machine. That is quite clever. I got stuck on this for, again, quite a while. This dungeon in general, I think, took me a few hours my first time through. And it really made me think. This is where they ramp up the difficulty quite a bit from the previous ones that we've seen, which is saying quite a bit, because there have been some pretty clever stuff up to this point. And just, it's very well thought out. It's almost Majora's Mask level for me, honestly, and I think that's a very high compliment. The current situation is difficult to accurately assess, but I suggest hurrying to the area beneath the crew and the brig first. All right. Let's get our arrows replenished. And I think that should be, oh boy. Oh, there's a lever right next to the door. That would be good. And I'm not going up there. I'm gonna use my whip. There's a reason why the goddess granted me with this thing, so I wouldn't ever have to use my arms ever again. Now, with all that done, I'm gonna meet you far below deck, specifically where that door that had that secret order was revealed to us. We got Beamos. Technically, you can use your arrow to deal with them. It's just that it's a little bit touchy, and the setup takes a little bit of time, and they're likely to notice you before then. I'm stretching out a lot of this, though, but point is, even though the arrows can deal with them, I greatly prefer just using my sword to the bow. I tend to take a lot of unnecessary damage, especially if there's more than one of them, so I don't quite like it. You guys, however, I do quite like shooting in the head, even though headshots don't do any additional damage. Get yet another ornamental skill. Another 2 in a row! That's good! Man, I'm a fan of this. Oh. You're a human, aren't you, Berserk? How did you get here? Weep. You came with the captain to save us? Weep. I'm so happy. Vroom. But we can't get out of here while that sparkly thing blocks the exit. Zert. I almost forgot to mention, but the engine room is right below the brig. Vroom. There's a corridor from the engine room that connects to this brig. Vroom. But to get through the engine room to here, bzzzt, you need to activate 2 power generators in the engine room. Been there, done that, buddy. I am ready to save you. Huh? Oh, it looks like the engine room is up and running. Vroom. Did you turn on the power of Weep? Okay, then. I'm sure you can get through the engine room to here now. Zert. We'll be waiting. Weep. I really hope we don't have to hit a Timeshift Stone before we save them, because that'll mean that in one timeline, they waited thousands of years for us to come back and we never did. Also, I'm kind of disappointed that robots refer to electricity as the sparkling thing. I thought he would have at least said, disembodied arms are blocking the way. Zert. That way down was no good. So our next best bet is in that main corridor once again, going into the room that we rode the lifeboat up from. We got a way down through this window, and after activating both engines, we just let go of the ladder. Again, you don't take fall damage. People have been saying that I've been lying to them by saying you don't take fall damage from that. You gotta latch onto the ladder and let go of it. If you just make the jump normally, I think you will take fall damage from that. It's weird. I don't really fully understand it myself, but whenever I grab the ladders, I don't take damage from it. That's what I've been trying to say. And now we are below deck in the engine room. Got a lever right over there. We try whipping it, we find that our reach is not quite good enough to make that happen. If we go over this way, we find Pound Cake Death. staring at us in the face with its 2 glowy eyes. Just time your movements through here. It's not really too terribly hard. Usually when one piston goes down, the other one will go up. So just be ready to run. I'd recommend not holding your run button or else that can happen, and that can be deadly. That's what I get for trying to show for sake of example. Now, this right here. I like the secret with getting the piece of heart above deck by just knowing to drop down to the second basement. But this right here is one of my favorite secrets of all in any dungeon. You got to adjust yourself when swinging from the whip by just kind of staying still and moving with the control stick. And then you can climb up here and find 5 treasure chests. It's pretty clever. Not really the hardest to find secret out there, though, but I do kind of like how it uses the whip in a bit of a different way. I think you were required to do this once before, though, but it's just kind of a nice little thing, you know, for being observant, for checking your map, just knowing that all these treasure chests are back here. Silver rupee. Just swimming in those lately. Over 1,000 rupees already. Evil crystal. Silver rupee again. And another monster horn. I'll tell you, if you couldn't upgrade your bow from returning to the sky before, you sure as heck can now, so definitely make that trip if you don't mind leaving the dungeon midway through. It's not really that big of a detour. Definitely something to keep in mind. Now, I think, can I make that jump over there? Yes, I can. Not in any trouble whatsoever. I always wanted to be a pancake when I grew up. Get through there. Got a little bit too impatient there for my own good. Now we swing using our whip, and this requires a bit of precision timing. We'll go up. That'll go down first, and you won't always make this jump because these ones are a little bit out of timing. So just kind of stand still, study it for a little bit, and then when that one goes down, just as that one's going up, you should be able to make it no problem at all. Next, we got a lever. Another pronunciation that I flip-flop between because I guess either is technically correct. And a place for us to crawl through. Whoa! Okay, screw seeing what it looks like when Link turns around in these corridors. I want to see that, how he rolled in there so fast, somehow perfectly contorted his body in motion to move so fast that he slammed his head into the wall. That's what I want to see. Once we go up, we got another one of these things. And here we are. You really came to save us. Weep. My circuits are glowing with happiness. Vroom. Really, Vroom? You came on board to find Nehru's flame? Zert. If you want to reveal Nehru's flame, you're going to have to regain control of the ship. Weep. But it's already docked on an island. What control is there to regain? We saw this earlier. The control room is next to the brig, but it's a huge door. Its huge door is sealed shut, and you'll need a key to open it. Vroom. First, you should head to the captain's cabin. Zert. The control room key should be in there. Weep. Please take this key as thanks for rescuing us. Vroom. This key will open the door to the captain's cabin. Weep. Actually, more than one small key. Who would have thought? I think that's a third one, actually. I'm a little bit late on the uptake. So we got to go through a door on the deck in the back in order to get to the captain's cabin. It's been marked on our map. But I'm getting out of here. Vroom. Sorry to leave you on your own, but you look like you can handle it. Zert. We're counting on you. Weep. Back in the engine room, near the object of which your pronunciation mileage will vary, we lowered these bars, or raised them, I'm not quite sure which, and now we can get to the door that we came in through, enabling us to get back to the deck. And hey, actually, an Amber Relic. This thing can respawn. I've had times where I could really easily get them by just going below deck, walking in that door, and then coming back in here, and that was apparently far enough away for the collectibles to come back. I've obtained many an Amber Relic by just going through this room whenever I needed to get below deck or above deck in any sort of opportunity. It does cost a little bit in the way of arrows compared to just walking all that way, but hey, it's faster, okay? So it's worth your time on two fronts. Anyway, riding classily up the lifeboat. I can't imagine that's a way that too many people have gotten on ships in their life. Feels special. We are here, back on deck, where the captain's room is located. I thought that was a golden skull for a moment. I freaked out though, but got worked up over nothing, as per usual. We have explored below deck in the past. We have freed some of the captain's crew, and we got the key to the captain's room, which is going to be our final objective before we can get to the control room. Next time on The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. We're gonna be doing all of those things that I just described. See you guys then.